Pocket Party.
Hello and welcome back to the Pocket Party Podcast. This is your host, Darren Carter, the party starter. I want to thank everybody for checking out the Pocket Party Podcast for your first time. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the party. And if you're a regular listener, thank you for coming back. If you want to do, show a little gratitude, hit that link for Buy Me a Coffee. Also, it's great. The link is in the description. You can make any amount you want. You can do a recurring amount, whatever floats your boat, man. And no matter what platform you're listening, please go over to this episode or any episode and leave a comment on the YouTube algorithm. It does help so much, and it lets me know you care, all right? So let's get into it. I'm also available on Cameo. One more plug. I'm available on Cameo for personalized videos. Today we've got a great guest. Let's get into it, Mr. Jamie Lissow. You guys are going to love him. One funny guy.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, Darren?
I'm great. Where in the world is Jamie Lissow today?
I'll be honest with you, I got to give that some thought. I got to look around. I am just outside of Naples, Florida.
Ooh, nice. Are you...
Dude, have you ever been to Naples, Florida?
I have. I usually play Captain Brian's over there.
Dude, that's where I was. Naples is maybe the best place to do comedy. The midnight show is at 7 p.m.
Oh, my gosh.
It's it's the oldest, most wonderful crowd. You can be as offensive as you want, and they can't walk out if they want to.
They can't. I know. It takes them 45 minutes to walk out. I still
That's
see
the
you,
best,
pal.
dude. Yeah, you're done by the time they get to their car.
That's great. Isn't it great there? It's the food's good. The shows are great. It's
unbelievable.
Did you find yourself doing any? What do you do during the day? Like when you're in Naples, Florida, do you do the same thing you do everywhere, or do you do something different?
You know what, dude? I'm a big, if I don't go to a sauna or Peloton, I slowly lose my mind. And I start to wonder why I'm doing anything and what is our purpose on earth. I start to lose my mind. And so before I got to Naples, I bought a day pass to a spa ahead of time to go every single day so I wouldn't wake up and blow it off because I'm like, I already spent $40. And so every day I went to a spa and sat in a sauna and wrote some jokes and worked on a new bit for a TV show I'm trying to do, and it was a very productive week.
That's great, man. I remember you told me when I worked with you in Burbank that you have like a waterproof notebook or something where you can actually work on your comedy or something.
That's
like
right,
that.
Dude. Whenever I do Gutfeld, I go to like this very grungy, seedy, cold plunge sauna place. It's a Russian Turkish sauna, and I bring a waterproof notebook so that I can sit in the sauna and write jokes and do the cold plunge and write jokes. It's quite insane, but it's my process, and if I skip it, it's disaster.
That's wild. By the way, I think he's at the airport now. So if the listeners hear
Sorry
anything,
about that.
No, it's okay.
It's like this lady doesn't even care about Darren Carter. Let me talk to her.
You're like quiet on the set.
It's the party ruiner back here.
I know. What the heck,
lady.
man? I like my women like I like my airports. Loud.
Loud and intrusive.
Intrusive. I need
not caring what I want.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this waterproof notebook, and she's over there with her own agenda. That's funny because when I go on the road, I have my I also have my routine of like just things that keep me sane. But usually it involves exercise, walking around, and remember the days, I don't know if you still do this, when you go on the road and you walk around the mall. Were you ever a mall walker?
I do like it. I enjoy a mall walk. I just did that Minneapolis Mall of America, and I loved the mall when the stores were closed.
Yes.
You go in the morning, you get some laps in.
Dude, when I've done that mall, I remember the first time I was blown away. Like the first day, I was like, wow. And then after about the third day of being stuck at that mall, you're just like, wow, this mall's getting a lot smaller. Like I'm starting to see.
You're relating to me. You were about to say, we're going to say repeat stores?
Yes, repeat stores. Yep.
Dude, the Minneapolis Mall has like 3 gaps. I went there and I go, where's the Starbucks? And they directed me to the Starbucks and used other Starbucks as directions. They go, we're taking you to the good one.
Yeah. You're like, forget the first 2. You need to go to the one on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, that place is, day 3, you start to wonder if you should just apply for a job at the mall. You start to question all of comedy.
Exactly. Yeah, I do like the malls, but I don't know, because maybe I'm getting older, but I don't like crowded malls. I like to kind of, be alone with my thoughts, but or just not
Dude, remember we were younger and they would go, you got to go to this bar, it's packed.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, yeah, let's go. And now it's like, well, you got to go to this bar, there's going to be nobody there. Okay, let's go.
You're totally right. I just did a show on Friday, and this guy's like, "Let me show you like the main strip." It was a smaller town, but he was excited by this main strip because there was bars and stuff. And I was like, even though it's a small town, I'm like, it's a little too rowdy for me. I mean, it's like a miniature version of like San Diego, but it wasn't too rowdy. But we ended up going to this place, and they had live music, and I go, you know what's funny? When I was younger, I would have hated this place, but now I'm like, oh wow, every fifth song is Elvis Presley, and you can actually have a conversation. But even then, I stayed in there for about 10 minutes. I go, let's get out of here.
Yeah, dude. Whenever someone asks me to go to a concert, I always go, what if we just play the CD and you spill beer on me? You know, wouldn't that be so much easier?
Exactly. Like my wife said, she always looks at what concerts are happening. So we'll go to concerts as a family, my wife and my son, and he's 17 now. And I really enjoy a lot of those like throwback concerts, like, 80s concerts. And when it's the grand finale, I'm usually like, okay, now I can use the restroom because all the regular people are going to want to see the big grand finale and encore. But I'm like, I want to go in there and not have to face a line,
Dude, completely. And then you even see some of those older bands that used to be kind of crazy and, nutty when they were younger. And they're like, are you guys ready for more? And the crowd's like, no, thanks. We have to get up for work in the morning.
I'm gonna curse on this because the guy cursed, but I saw Modern English at an 80s concert, and then they were in all white. They had their guitars, and the sun was still out a little bit, like it was that kind of thing. It was at the Greek Theater, and he goes, the lead singer comes out and he goes, "Are we having a good time?" And the crowd's like, "Yay!" And he goes, "Then how about showing some fucking enthusiasm?"
That's amazing.
And then they just
That's absolutely amazing.
And then they just go into their big hit song, "I'll stop the world and melt with you."
Oh yeah, that's a goodie.
It's so mellow.
That's a goodie. You do have to account as a performer. You do have to account for your audience and not take it personally. Like in Naples, like I just did like Irvine or something. It was like these crushing, crazy shows.
Yeah.
When you're at Naples, you have to look at the crowd and say, they're all eating chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
Like they're eating these giant meals, and you have to sort of go, they just want to listen to a show. Almost like that older rocker kind of has to go, hey, this is my crowd now. They're enjoying themselves, but they're just not throwing... they're not throwing bras on stage because it takes two people to get them off now.
Yes, exactly. I did I performed last week inside of a, it sounds good on paper, I guess, but not when you get there. It was inside of what they called an arena, but it was a basketball arena, and it was at a junior college. And it was super echoey, high ceilings, and the bleachers. Get this, Jamie. The bleachers. It was all boys, 11th grade boys, 12th grade boys, and junior college boys. And the guy that went on right before me, I was like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, the laughs are going to be at about a 3 because they've been in class all day, and you're just like, I just went up there and I'm like, okay, this is what it is, and every now and then I'd get a loud pop, but not really, and it was nothing you'd want to film because you're like, I don't want this documented unless you're gonna like, add music or something over it, but
you got to accept your audience. Dude, I was at a casino once, and the Lakers had made it to the playoffs. It might have even been like a game 7. And they go, we're not turning off this game, like even though they're doing comedy. And it was when Shaq and Kobe were playing together. And dude, I was on stage and I was bombing, so I tried to time my punchlines with when Shaq would dunk the ball, so that it would at least sound like they were clapping for me.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant, right? I was crushing.
And then I said, "That's why the chicken." And they're like, "Yeah."
Because back in the day, dude, they used to throw it to Shaq like he was the basket. They'd be like, he's the basket, basically.
Dude, that's hilarious, man. Man, you're on the you're on the grind like at an incredibly high level. I see you're flying, you're touring, your machine is like, you're like super duper funny. I gotta say, like, I always laughed at you when I would see you on television, and then to see you in person, it was like an honor. I was like, now this is, who was in the audience that night? I don't know if you talked to him, but Jimmy Dore came by and watched your set. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew.
Yeah, I did. I love that dude. I saw him on the way in, and he, in my opinion, is one of the best we have. And so it was very nice to see him at the show. And he said some nice things after. He's brilliant, man. So I was psyched to see that dude. Yeah,
he's so good because he's also like topical, and what I remember because I do shows with him around town, and usually he's doing like like in LA, you do like 10-minute sets or maybe 20 if you're lucky, but usually at that club that we worked at, I'm like, Jimmy, I wish I could, I wish you would go on longer because like he has a way of talking about things that are happening and then just making it funny, and he's really good at it. And anyways, it was kind of cool when I walked off stage or at some point I saw him there. I'm like, Jimmy, what's going on, man? He's like, great set, Darren, and so that's what I was saying. That was a good nod to you because you're so good, and like you said, you've been it's so funny. I heard you on a podcast talking about your first wave of success, I guess, and you did the Tonight. When did you do the Tonight Show the first time?
Oh, dude, so I did Montreal in really quick story, but I did New Faces at Montreal, and I did not know what New Faces was. I was so new in comedy. I didn't even know it was a big deal or to be nervous. I never even heard of it, and I was emceeing at a club in the middle of nowhere called Deja Vu in Columbia, Missouri.
I love that club.
It's oh my God, and it used to be like just a party central, and they go, hey, tonight you don't have to work. They're doing like a Montreal thing. And I go, okay. So they go, you got the day off? And I start talking to this guy at the bar, just chatting. And he's like, you going up tonight? And I go, nope, I'm here the rest of the week. And then, like I'm just off tonight because you guys are doing the thing. And the guy goes, I said something funny, and he goes, why don't you go up? And I go, all right, I'll go up. And so I got thrown up on this Montreal showcase. Was not nervous, did not understand any of the gravity of it. Yeah. Had a pretty good set. And then they gave me Montreal. I was the last guy to get it. I think they gave it to everyone and someone couldn't do it. And I was like Fall Out Boy. And I jumped in. And then I did the Tonight Show 3 days later.
Wow.
On the Monday after the weekend of Montreal, I did the Tonight Show immediately. And so it was like 2001. And it was like, dude, it was like farm to table, man. It was like I was just a feature on the road in the middle of nowhere. And then I was on the Tonight Show 3 days later. And yeah, it was 2001. And dude, you just don't know anything. I think we all need to give our younger selves just a break because we feel stupid looking back as the people we are now making the decisions we made then. But we were not those people with this experience. And I made every mistake you could make there. Like, I just was partying too much. I thought, oh, you just do Montreal and Tonight Show, and then they just hand you a TV show. I didn't know you had to work at it. I just thought you showed up to these meetings and everything was great. And that's not what happens. Like, I just sort of faded away into like a bit of headlining just all over the country, tiny rooms, kind of back to like what it was before the Tonight Show. And then when I got back on Gutfeld, I was like, well, this isn't happening again. Like, I'm going to be the hardest working person that I know. Right. And I'm going to wake up every morning and work towards, like keeping these fans and gaining more fans and doing bigger shows. And it's so interesting to me how it is such a full-time job for me now, like sun up to sundown with, a couple of breaks. But compared to back then when I thought you just could rest and wait for the success to happen, like, you're the same way, man. Like I'm taping every show. I'm writing jokes for people and, doing the social media. The shows are probably like 1/10 of what I do every day.
It's amazing. It's but any idea who that guy was at the Deja Vu Comedy Club who told you should go up? Do you remember his name? It was
his first name was Evie, and he was the booker of the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I think it was Evie, and it was Freddie DeMarco.
Oh yeah,
remember that guy?
You know what? I heard about him. I got it. When I did that club, it was after Freddie had left, and it was with Matt.
There's so Freddie DeMarco was like this old school gangster kind of guy that ran that place, and he actually helped convince the guy to put me on the show. Wow. I think he was like, this guy's funny or something. And there's a great Freddie DeMarco story where he's in the office watching surveillance tape. He's watching. Yeah. He calls us all in, and he's watching a bartender steal money from him. So we're all watching this video, and this guy comes up and he pays $20 for a couple of shots, and the guy puts $20 in his pocket. Or no, the guy puts $10 in the register, $10 in his pocket.
Wow.
Another person comes up, gives him $20. He puts $10 in the register, $10 in the pocket. A few minutes go by. A guy comes up, he buys a shot, he gives him $20. He puts the whole $20 in his pocket, and Freddie runs out and goes, what, are we not partners anymore? And he fires the guy. It's classic.
That's
Classic Freddie
hilarious.
DeMarco.
I would hear the legend of Freddie DeMarco before I got there. They were like, this guy, that. But when I got there, it was the younger owner, Matt. I forget his last name, but he was
Yeah, Matt. Yep. I remember that dude. Tall dude.
Yeah, tall dude, and wore like polo shirts, and it was.
Yep.
That was a great. I mean, that's so cool. Crazy. It's crazy. You did the showcase. You did the Tonight Show. It's like bang, bang, bang. Now, when I got lucky enough to do the Tonight Show, and it was it took them like a year to actually put me on. It was one of those things where they're like going over my set, you perform, and then they're like, "Why did you add this word? Why did you say that word?" You know, it's like, let's rearrange it. So, I mean, that's amazing that you got in there. You know, like that.
That's what I find so fascinating about like doing Gutfeld now is like our audience is bigger than the Tonight Show now, right? And what I find fascinating is back in the day, I did the same thing, like where when I went to do this Tonight Show again, where they took my set and just like my Montreal set was so tight because I'd been working on it for years and years and years, you know, like just that I just always had a 5-minute set. And so when they put me on that showcase, I was like, oh, I got this 5. Like I've been working on this forever. And so then that 5, they go, you can do that on Tonight Show, which I guess is kind of unusual. And then the next time I was on, it was what you said. It was like, you're on the board, but we're going to come watch you do this 5 at different spots around town. We're going to tell you to take this word out, put that word in, and you're honing it. And then what's so funny to me is on Gutfeld, you not only do they not know what you're going to say, you've written all the jokes that day that you are doing on a show that has a bigger audience than the Tonight Show. You're doing brand new material every night that you're on. And I find it's just the adrenaline rush and like the risk. And like when you're done having you didn't bomb, you got a couple of laughs. It's like a wild feeling because it's not, maybe it's almost helpful that you don't have to prepare that set and that you're just sort of getting up there and just saying whatever.
You're really, by the way, you are really good at it, man. Like when I watch you on that show, you're like, and it's great because I want to say I remember when you first came on there and it was like, oh, cool, man. Because I was like, there's Jamie, he's funny. And then, dude, you just light up the screen and you know what's interesting is your it sounds kind of odd, but like you really do look good on camera. Like your eyes are kind of like this blue color, and you just have this twinkle in your eye, and you like this mischievous thing, and then boom, you always bring it, man. It's like you know.
Good. I appreciate it. People are often very disappointed at what I look like in real life, so I appreciate that. I think it's a shared sentiment.
Yeah, it's and. You know, I don't know if you ever did Comics Unleashed, that Byron Allen
Never
show.
did. Never did.
It's, you know, they have 4 comics and then they each, you know, Byron will turn you, hey, so Darren, you like roller coaster? And then you do your bid. And, and some of the comics would like play along and kind of like laugh along. Oh, that's, and then some were in their head thinking about what they were going to say. Does that ever affect you when you're doing a show like that? Like if the other guests aren't really, or do you just think like they're in their own world thinking about what they're going to say, or how does?
Oh, dude, I've done both of those things. So I have been the guy that ignored everyone and only thought about my next joke to the point where they stopped showing me on camera when I wasn't talking because I was reading notes. And I've kind of grown out of that to where I do try to memorize all my stuff. I write a ton of jokes. That's my excuse. Like I'm writing 3 to 5 jokes per segment, 5 segments per show. So 15 jokes you got to remember. That's not really possible. Yeah. And so I do have little notes where I'll check them on commercial break, but I'm trying to write less jokes and I commit to the ones I'm going to do. And then that way I've noticed I can listen. And what's even better than doing a new joke on TV is doing an ad lib on TV. Oh. It's maybe the best feeling of all time. And so I found that since I did I'm trying to just glance at the notes on commercial break now. Plus, a lot of people online gave me just massive piles of shit for it. Yeah. It's easier to stay in the moment, and you realize, like, you can do friggin' ad libs on a television show in front of 4 million people, and it's a whole nother level of, like, kind of like excitement and nervousness, and I absolutely love it.
Can you tell the story about? I'd love to hear the story. I heard you say it at the audience, like about. I think you sort of ad-libbed something in the moment, and it crushed on TV, and it was about, I think perhaps proposing to your lady.
Oh yeah, dude! I ended up. Me and my fiance got engaged and decided not to tell anybody. We decided because we have children that we wouldn't tell anybody until they found out. And then I was on Gutfeld the very next day and did not have a joke prepared. Yeah. And just there was like some interview where this girl was really close to another girl, and I said like, man, I proposed to my girlfriend this weekend, didn't get as close to her as that girl got to that girl. And it's just like, the whole show stopped because I'm a loser that doesn't have a girlfriend. And then like Greg's like, oh my God, you got engaged? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, have you told your ex-wife yet? And I go, yeah, just now on your show. None of this was planned. And so, yeah, well, we ended up telling all our friends and family to watch it. Like at 10 p.m. that night, we told them, Jamie's got a message. You can hear something. And then I think I mentioned this on the story on stage, but the show got preempted because there was like protesters at Columbia University. And so I just told 100 people to just watch Sean Hannity cover the Columbia protests. And it didn't air that day. And then it aired the next day and all was well.
That's hilarious. I remember on stage you said something like, is Jamie going to pop out of a bush with a sign?
Oh, yeah. Is he in one of those tents?
Yeah. Is he one of those
him
tents?
In the purple wig? Yeah.
That's funny. Usually like when I'm on radio or whatever, like they throw a question, all the neurons are firing, like bing, 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 I have an answer. But the other night I was at the Comedy Store and there was a younger comic in the back. And as I walked back there, he goes, hey, Darren, let me ask you a question. And it was one of these like out of nowhere questions. He's like, what have you learned in the last year on stage?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, because I was like, it was interesting. I go, and I just told him my honest answer. I go, I've been doing this for so long. A lot of things I learned were early on or even like longer than a year. I go, in the last year, what have I learned? And specifically like on stage, I go, I'm going to need a moment to think about that. And I literally had to walk away because I thought, I've learned a lot already. Like, I don't know what you're... And my answer, I came back and it wasn't even, it was really it was more of a technical answer. I said, I've learned to, and this is just because I film myself. I said, I've learned to like not move around so much. That way it makes the editing easier. Cause otherwise I go, even though there's software now that it can track you and, keep you in that square. But I go, I just found if I stand within like a 3 to 4 foot area, it's better for me editing. I go, that's kind of what I learned, but Did
he accept your answer? Did he seem pleased?
Yeah, because this other guy jumped in and was like, because it was another younger comic, and he's like, oh, absolutely. And he started like, talking about how he used to run around doing cartwheels, and now it makes it crazy to do editing. And then he said that he learned from, I forget who it was. Barry Katz, the big manager, Barry Katz. And
yeah.
He said, yeah. The other comic, not the one that asked me the question, he goes, yeah, Barry told me all funny happens in this area, and it was like basically from like the chest up. And he goes,
that's funny.
If you can make your comedy from the chest up, that it really reads well on camera as opposed to. And I was like, oh, cool.
Very interesting.
So I think,
I would have said in the last year I've learned not to take questions from younger comics after my shows.
Exactly. Now beat it, you bum. Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, because as we're constantly learning, and especially like as you're going through the journey, you're like learn. Oh, don't say like the F word too much because then it looks what I mean. All those things, and then eventually you kind of weed out a lot of those things. But
Yeah, dude. Well, I feel like I learned 2 things recently. One of them was not to take the like laughter or non-laughter too personally.
Yeah.
Like if you're killing, don't think that you're that funny, and if you're not killing, don't think that you're not funny. Because I watched the openers at Naples, and my buddy's hilarious, and sometimes he'd kill, and sometimes he wouldn't, and it's because they're eating. Yeah. So like that has nothing to do with him. It's almost like you have to take that personal aspect out of it. And dude, something else I learned recently, I got a call on, I had 9 shows this weekend in Naples. We started with 3.
Oh my God.
We added 3 shows. It was bananas, man. It was like, it's like 2,200 tickets. It was nuts.
Wow.
And I was doing press every day. Like I was busy and everything. And my manager calls on Friday and I'm like, dude, I'm looking at this weekend like a mountain I have to climb. I'm just like, there's a lot of shows, a lot of whatever. And he goes, dude, there's this TV show. I won't tell you the specifics, but he goes, there's a TV show you used to be on, and it's like comics telling stories, and like they want to look at you for a slot. I just need you to record like a story, like a news story, and they like if it's edgy, and so and he's like, you could tell. I was addicted to Kratom for a while. I actually had to go to rehab, and he's like, if you could tell the Kratom story, and I'm like, let me get this straight. You would like me to. It's Friday afternoon. Yeah. You would like me to write a story about a very serious topic and mix it in with my silly jokes tonight in Naples. Like, just do it, just this. And he's like, we have till Monday, and it's supposed to be 7 to 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay, so you want me to write a 10-minute bit that I'm going to write and perform in the middle of like my other material that this has nothing to do with? And I was like, every cell in my body was fighting it. And I go, well, let me try it. What's the worst that happens? I don't send it, or I don't do it. And I ended up starting on Friday, by Sunday, I got a 9-minute bit about quitting Kratom that I just sent to the TV place, and I finished it, and it really taught me that sometimes new material, you're so excited about it, it can do as well, as long as it's true and real and raw and vulnerable, as these jokes we've been doing forever. Like, there's something about relatability and being honest that gives you a little bit more leeway on stage. And it made me go, holy shit, dude, that was like 10 minutes. I could do this every weekend if I wanted to. Like, why am I not doing that? So it made me feel a little bit lazy, but made me realize there's like more opportunities there to do more if we're there anyway. You're in Naples anyway. Like, why not do a new 10 minutes?
Yeah, I have to ask a question. I don't even, what is Kratom? I never even heard of it.
Dude, it's like this herb drug type of thing that they sell. It's weird. It's like legal. Like in Florida, you can buy it at 7-Eleven and gas stations. And in Indiana, if you're pulled over and you are in possession of it, you can be taken to jail.
Oh my God.
So it has a lot of different stuff. And I didn't know it was really bad for me. And I don't drink. I quit drinking 9 years ago. And you know how non-drinkers are always looking for, a little something we drink a lot of coffee.
Right.
We want to change our minds a little bit.
Yeah.
So I see this Kratom bottle. I go, let me try this thing. And long story short, dude, I get so addicted. I'm drinking like 9 bottles a day.
Wow.
And I had to go to, I'll tell you a quick part of the story, but I was on Dr. Drew, his show.
Yeah. And
he's like a friend of mine. And we're doing a Q&A. And this guy goes, what do you think of Kratom? And I've been taking it. I've been kind of like taking it a lot of it for months. And Dr. Drew says, oh, it's so bad. It's more addictive than, he's like, it's the same addiction as opioids. And especially if you had a problem with drinking, it's like very troublesome. And I'm drinking 9 a day when he's answering this question. And so the minute the show ends, I call Dr. Drew on his cell phone and I go, hey dude, I've been taking 9 of these a day. And he goes, you have to stop. And I go, okay, but do you have any doctor advice? I mean, I knew that. Do you have any doctor stuff to tell me? And he goes, I get into this outpatient like rehab facility in Fairbanks and end up, they put me on, I had to cancel shows. They put me on Suboxone, which is what they give you when you're getting off of heroin. Oh, wow. Right? So my first thought was like, oh my God, I could have tried heroin. Wow. What a waste of a recovery, And, but I ended up, I did both those things and got off of it pretty quickly, but very, very dangerous stuff that if I found it as a teenager, there would have been no looking back. And it's at gas stations and 7-Elevens in Florida next to like trucker stay awake pills.
Is it called Kratom or does it have like a fancy name and then that's one of the ingredients in it?
If you go to a smoke shop, it'll say Kratom and you're buying Kratom pills and powder. But if you go to a gas station, it will be called something like Euphoric or Free and Clear, and then you look and it has Kratom in it. But it won't usually say Kratom because now there's a bit of a stigma attached. Gotcha. And so they try to hide it in there sometimes.
Does it give you is it like a Ripped Fuel or something like that or whatever? Like I remember there was like these pre-workout drinks,
Ripped Fuel,
and it would give you all this energy. And then I think Fin was in it. This is like a long time ago, but it would make me jittery. Yes. It was like kind of like jittery. And then I was like, oh my! It's like drinking like 15 coffees or something.
Yeah, dude. So you're hitting my. I also used to be addicted to ephedrine, which was the main ingredient in Ripped Fuel, and that ended up being really bad and getting outlawed. I think it's still legal in Canada, but not legal in the United States. And this is slightly different. It's more euphoria than energy, like a feeling of being unstoppable. Dude, whoever says drugs are bad hasn't tried them. They're amazing. They get bad. They are eventually bad. But like this is one where it was so good. It was so addictive. Wow. Like it was such not worth it, not worth the risk. One of those things where like, of course there's a price to pay. But my goodness, like for the first couple times I was like, I have found a magic formula that's an alternative to drinking, having no idea that I was basically taking opioids.
Yeah, because if you're buying it like at a convenience store, you're like, this is legal, it's good for you. I remember the first thing I would do when I would land at an airport, I would go like look for Arizona iced teas because I'm like, oh, it's green tea, it's good for you. And then eventually I was like, nah, I'll just stick with it. Now I'm just drinking black coffee because I don't even put the cream or sugar in. I stopped doing the cream and sugar years ago, and that's pretty good. Or like a nice iced coffee. Like when I have a long drive, I'll just get like a iced Americano or like an iced coffee, and it just, I don't know, it makes the drive go. And
dude, I'm with you. Yeah, I do black coffee, same exact thing. Every once in a while when I'm feeling crazy, I drink a Diet Coke. You know when people go, do you party?
Yeah.
I just assume they mean drink a Diet Coke. That's what I do.
I'll have two. No. Yeah, yeah, man, that's wild. That's something you did learn on stage though. Like, okay, try this story, go out there and do it. And I guess you just did you tell the audience, or did you just weave it in like it was like already a part of your existing act?
All I said was I experimented with telling them exactly what I was doing. I said, I'm trying out this story for a TV show. I said that the first night. That was the wrong idea, Darren. It really took people out of the moment, and it was really hard. So after that first show, that mistake, I started going, hey, I'm going to share a personal story with you guys, something I have not talked about very often, and then I tell the story.
I like that, because that way they're leaning in going, what's the personal story? Yeah, as opposed to the first way, maybe they're more judgmental, like, oh, okay, I could see,
Yes,
yeah.
And I think they also don't know if they're supposed to laugh because you're telling them it's like a serious thing. So I think they were like a little too reserved. But if you go right into it, dude, it was my by the end of the weekend, I was closing on it, 9 minutes.
Oh, wow!
And I had more than one person come up after with a personal relate to a kratom struggle. And one guy that was on it and thought he was developing a problem. Like from just doing it in one weekend, I ran into so many people that, of course they have, dude. It's like in 7-Eleven and it's amazing. And like, of course people are getting addicted.
That is a blessing in disguise, right? Your manager calls you. And by the way, he's a wonderful guy and I like him. And and he's like, hey, here's this thing, and you're like, oh man, and then now you're closing on it. It's like, it's awesome.
Yeah,
that is it.
Feels good to do something like that. I don't do that enough, and it felt good to send him the clip and be like, here it is, man. We worked on it this weekend.
So you're in Florida. Are you flying to another gig? You flying home for a couple of days? Are you?
Yeah, I'm flying to New York City to do the Greg Gutfeld show tomorrow.
Oh, man, did
man.
Did you get the topics today, or you'll get the topics tomorrow?
We get them the day of the show, like 4 hours ahead of time, because they want them to be like the breaking news stories.
Yeah.
And so they usually do it the morning of, and then you write jokes for like 5 hours, and then you film for an hour, and that's it.
There's a comic that I write with once a week, and he's on the radio here in LA, and he's always looking for topical stuff and new stuff, and it started out really easy for me because I would watch his act and I'd be like, oh, try this as a punchline or try that as a and it was really great because it was the blueprint was already out there. Like I remember one of the first jokes I wrote for him was it was when Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un were going to meet, and the whole world was like, where are they going to meet? Are they going to meet? And, where's this big meeting going to happen? And so I said something like I go, hey, you could be like, they wanted to meet at a place they would both feel comfortable. Supercuts, right?
That's great. That's
and
good.
he was like, thank you. And he was like, he goes, man, that joke's been killing. I mean, he might have been exaggerating, but he goes, it's getting a 1 minute applause. Oh my gosh. But that's a great joke. Thank you. As time has gone by, it's been harder because he's also sort of coming to me going, so what's in the news this week? Like he doesn't have any setups or premises. And so now I'm like, dude, he's like, do we have anything on? And I'm like, oh, so it would be way easier if he were, I think, well, not easier, but a little bit easier if at least he would like, here's 10 premises or something. Can you, do you ever have to come there with both or they at least give you the news stories?
They always give us, like sometimes it will be multiple stories, like the A block will be like 8 different stories.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to have jokes for all of them, depending on like which way the conversation goes, or if somebody uses your joke, or you don't know what he's going to ask you exactly. So it could be like Elon, Trump, Doge, whatever. And so you kind of have to be ready for anything.
Yeah, and I remember you went on early on where I was like, that's so cool. He's a comedian. He's doing this. And I remember you were really funny without being like preachy. And also some of your punchlines were kind of like, or your take on things were sort of neutral, where you're like, I don't know what this guy's political affiliation is. I like him a lot. He's great. Like, was that the first time you did the show? Were you a little nervous of like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm a conservative comedian, or did that not even cross your mind, or
you know what, dude? I would say it never crossed my mind until I would like lose friends or people would get upset. Like it never crossed my mind. I was always a comedian that was like, you tell me what to write a joke about and I'll write a joke. I didn't know. And also, dude, if you've noticed, I did not do this by design. This is just how I am.
Yeah.
I have been on that show. Next week will be my 135th appearance. I have yet to make a point, 1 point in 135 appearances. I have always prioritized the joke. Like for me, it's always been like jokes first.
Yep.
And so I kind of thought, do I even need to bring my beliefs, or do I need to convince someone that's watching the show that already agrees with me, or say something to someone that disagrees with me? I'm not going to convince them at a comedy show, so why not just go with laughs first, which I've always done, and it's translated into 9 shows in Naples. But I will say,
damn, I know
the hate that you get, even when you are doing that, is unbelievable. I just got a message right before I picked up your call that is deeply upsetting to the point where I might respond. It actually is from, dude, when I do my show, I do 1 hour of material that is not political. Like you saw my set. I don't talk about politics at all. And at the end of the show, I said one joke about Elon trying to save the humanity by taking us to Mars or something. One joke at the hour and 10 mark. My contract, 45 minutes. Some in an hour and 10. Everything's free at this point. Complimentary, even if you don't like it. And I got an email from a girl who said my dad was her guidance counselor, and she was at the show last night where I did 1 hour and 10 minutes and one Elon joke, and she said he would be disappointed in me that I am. And I'm like, okay, first of all, he would be upset that this woman is not as accepting of me as I would be of her, even if she disagreed. He was, I thought, very bizarre though, going towards my dad who passed away. I feel like it's just such a low, and also overreacting to me saying Elon Musk. Just that's such a trigger that I feel like that is wrong. Those are the people in politics I have no interest in being friends with or having come to my shows on either side. Right. If someone's way too far, if you're keying Teslas or you're calling people names because they have different thoughts about Roe versus Wade, I'm somewhere definitely more, not in the middle, but I'm not the 5% all the way to the right, and I don't enjoy the 5% all the way to the left. I feel like those people can all go F themselves, and I don't need them.
I know.
When there's non-acceptance, I love to agree to disagree. I have friends who I am engaged to someone that has beliefs that are different than mine when it comes to reproductive rights or whatever, and we love each other and we discuss that stuff sometimes, and we have a wonderful life together. And I don't understand why a stranger is so triggered that it's it was basically you're evil, you're on the wrong side of history. And I'm like, okay, I believe that you're taking this a little too far. And that's stuff I get a little heated about.
Yeah, especially since, like you said, she brought your dad into it, and it's because if it's just a random, total stranger with no connection, you're like, okay, whatever. But she was at your show, and it's sometimes it's best not to even respond, but I don't know, or at least give it a day or two, and then cooler heads prevail. But it's, is that your baby back there?
Hey, you know what's funny? I was just about to mention that. I was wondering if you could hear that. I have children, and I have such a double standard. I don't like children if they're not with me. If I'm traveling with children, I'm upset if someone's mad at me for a kid making a kid noise. But when I am traveling, I want all children to not be children. I'm dude, I sat next to a kid the other day, and I go, this kid must work for Bose noise canceling headphones. This is too much to handle.
Everyone's like, can I buy some of those? As soon as they land, they're like, they want to go get some Bose noise canceling headphones. That's hilarious. I think I was a lot more forgiving when our son was really little. When he was the first year or two, I'd be on a plane and I'd be like, oh, they have a baby also. But you're right. As time has gone by, I'm like, shut the kid up. It's
yeah, dude, I don't have enough empathy. I have such a double standard. It's unbelievable. You know what I want, dude? I want a parent. All I want, say the kid's kicking my seat or something.
Yeah.
All I want is the parent to try to get them to stop. I want the parent to go, come on, buddy, someone's sitting up there. If they kick it the whole rest of the flight,
I know, that's
okay as long as the parent tried. But if there's a parent that's see how hard you can kick it, that upsets me.
They're like, go, like it's soccer. Sometimes I've sat next to it. I always try to get the window seat so I can sleep, and they'll put a kid in the middle, and the kid's like you said, fidgety and moving around, and I'm like, well, if it's a short flight, I'm a lot more patient, but it is annoying. It's but
yeah, I agree. It's tough.
Jamie, before we go, and I want to thank you for joining us here on Pocket Party. Do you have? Is there anything you've learned in the last or rediscovered? Anything you've discovered in the last year or rediscovered in the last year that just made your life better? Where you're like, oh, I forgot about this. This entertains me, or this really gets me going, or this is what, you know.
That's a very good question. I would say one thing that I'm trying to do more is that has changed my life. I don't know if this is exactly a direct answer, but it's been like had a huge impact on me. It's making so like for us, it's comedy.
Yeah.
Like comedy is our job, and we sort of live and breathe it at times.
Yep.
I have learned to make it smaller in the sense of like I look at my kids and my fiance. I'm gonna walk away from this guy who's yelling at me, dude. It's like he doesn't even care about a podcast. Does he even know that I'm talking to him? He's all he cares about is boarding this flight, dude. It's so ridiculous. Such a but I think I have learned that, dude. I just this has just happened this morning too, but I just canceled what I think what for me is a very good gig, right? So I have a gig on the books that. It's a special gig for me. Like it's a corporate. I don't do many corporates. It pays very well. It pays what I would normally make in a weekend. And I was very excited when I booked it. And then I was talking to my daughter and I realized I had made a mistake and she's graduating from 8th grade on the same night. Nice. And I don't know if you know this, but when your kids get older, they celebrate. They're like, oh, we're graduating from 5.5 grade. Like there's so many graduations.
Yeah.
And I got the feeling she wanted me to go.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, that's too bad I can't go. And then I realized, dude, comedy is so small. And those people aren't going to be upset. Like, I'm not going to just cancel on someone the night before. This is months away.
Yep.
And I called a friend who's very similar to me, and I called my manager, and I said, I really can't do this gig. I have a kid thing, but I want to make sure they're okay with it. And I go, I got a guy. He's just like me. He's on Gutfeld. He's like the same guy. He will do it. He's available. Could you see if we could swap it out? They did it. And so I think what I have learned is, you can do anything you want, and you don't have to act like it's all going to go away. And you don't have to work every single week, because if you work every week, you get no rewards. Right. And what money is for, like, I don't know what it's for. Like, if I make more money tonight, I'm not going to buy a helicopter. I'm in drive around now. Like, my life doesn't change that much once you have a roof over your head and you have food. And so once you get to a certain level, I think you can't be scared, because I feel this. I had that heat in 2001 and it all went away. Yeah. So I have this memory of this fear of thinking it was going to be okay, and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I have learned to just have the confidence that you can make comedy small in the sense of we still work really hard, but I don't take it personally. I don't stress out more than I have to, and I save my energy for those kids and for my fiance. And by canceling some of those shows, that's what money's for. Getting to say no and seeing my daughter, and then the energy you receive from hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, I can't go anywhere. By the way, that guy did not recognize me from Gutfeld. I was blacked out drunk last night. I took my pants off, and he recognized me. But I think what I've really learned is that, like, life work balance is not just something you say; it's something you have to live, and the rewards of balancing it so outweigh just being a workaholic and seeing, acting like it's all going to end tomorrow. I can't say no. It all works out. Like, you say no, you cancel the thing, or you switch a guy out, and then they're like, we want you next year. Amen. Man, this guy, like nothing bad happens. Or they go, you're like, hey, this week every month I see my kids. It's okay. Like, they'll find a way to book a show around it, or you make a little less money and you have a better life. Amen. And so that's one thing I was not bad at. I was not good at that I am now getting good at.
Amen. I'm glad you know what I mean? You shared that. Earlier in the podcast, we talked about going to a mall and walking around during the day and see, because I would be inspired when I'd see things. And I saw something maybe, it was maybe 15, 16 years ago. So my son was really little. He's 17 now. And it was a place that made woodworking signs, like they would carve words into signs. And this sign, it said, never get so busy making a living, you forget to make a life. And,
ooh, that's good.
I remember I took a photo of it, and I every now and then I look at that, and it's like, I'm like, yeah, it's those little moments, like you said, the 8th grade graduation and stuff. Like, I heard you on a podcast, a buddy of mine, Danny Lobel and Mark Schiff, called We Think It's Funny. Oh, yeah, dude. And it was great. You guys talked about, I couldn't believe it. You said you took your son to a 3-day hip hop concert. I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about, that father-son bonding.
Dude, they should sell T-shirts for all of the performers, and also world's greatest dad sweatshirts for anybody that sat through that festival. Yeah.
Dude, I did you have the, because I always put the my wife, she always brings earplugs so we can, when we go to these concerts, because that way it's like tolerable. But was it just loud? And did you know any of the artists or the songs, or was it just all unfamiliar? And
So I liked Lil Yachty was there, and I love him. And me and my son have seen him, just him. I'm big into. I have trouble going to a concert if I'm not familiar with the music. And Lil Yachty, I know everything, so I loved him. And then I'm gonna forget his name. There's a giant artist there. It was the guy. Who was the guy where people, like somebody died and like a cameraman? Travis Scott.
Oh yeah, Travis Scott. Scott. Yeah.
So Travis Scott was there, and I enjoyed that. But everyone else, I was not familiar. And there's nothing worse than unfamiliar rap. You just feel like you're reading a book written in a different language.
Totally.
And so, dude, by the way, that Kendrick Lamar halftime show,
yeah,
that's more words than I love him.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of words, dude. Whenever I listen to Kendrick Lamar, I'm like, is there a test tomorrow? What is this? Like, it's very stressful. I had closed caption on. I couldn't even see him. There's so many words on the screen.
Exactly. It's like, how am I down and talking like this or rapping like a rap? Yeah. It's like, what is going? Yeah, my son.
Yeah, he's getting paid by the word like Hemingway, that guy.
That's awesome, dude. That's a funny joke. You say. I bet you're saying so many funny things throughout the day. It's just gold being out there in the atmosphere. Like, it's
that's very nice, dude.
You know what I mean? I'm like, you've said a million things on this, and I'm like, oh, I bet she's never even said that before. But my son, he's a musician, so he listens to music and he listens to the bass. You know, he plays bass, piano, guitar, and so. In the last few years, he's really gotten into heavy metal, and talk about annoying music if you're not familiar with it. Like,
oh yeah,
I very rarely get frustrated with my son like that. But one day it was raining. I was in the parking lot, and I'm getting ready to back up like on a rainy, dark night in a crowded fast food parking lot. And my son, you know, he was probably 14 at the time. He had the music blasting loud. He put on like it might have been I don't know, some crazy heavy metal group. And I'm like, dude, I got to concentrate. I don't. and then I immediately apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my hand. He's like, that's okay, Dad. Because I'm like, to me, it's just noise. There was no melody. It was just some guy screaming at me. It was.
Yeah, dude. My son listens to hardcore rap to the point where the clean version's only like 10 seconds long. You know? Yeah. By the time they get rid of it, just long silences.
I used to, well, I don't really like hip hop like I used to, but back in the 80s, I loved it, the 90s. And then right around, I mean, there's a few songs that still get through, but I don't know. Now I've gone back and listened to different genres of music, or dude, for a while, I was really into Frank Sinatra. I'm like, now this is mellow and tells a great story and creates a zone and a mood, you know?
Yeah, that's good stuff, man.
Yeah. And lately I've been into the old school country music for sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh,
getting around.
Oh, dude, I love it. I put Spotify
getting around the genres.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll probably be into rap like 10 years from now again. I'll be like, hey, son, yeah, I love this old school rap, this Travis Scott. Well, Jamie, you're the best. Thank you for coming on, and I'd love to have you back. And do you have any?
Absolutely,
I haven't asked this question in a long time, but I feel like a guy like you've kind of already answered it, but in your own special way. Do you have any words of wisdom? Anything you've shared? Anything you've learned along the way? Anything you'd like to share with our listeners?
I got one, dude. I got one. So I stole this from Marcus Aurelius. I try to live by that the obstacle is the way. Like, whatever hard thing is happening to you, not only can you overcome it, going further than that, like almost acting like you chose it. And I'm in the middle of something right now that I will not get into. It's a really hard situation that involves ex-wives and things like that. And the only thing getting me through is looking at the obstacle as if it is the solution. Quick example would be, I got divorced. It was very sad. I lost a lot of money. I was depressed. I had to move to Alaska. Well, now that's how everyone knows me from Gutfeld. So that's my ultimate example of like all these bad, quote unquote, bad things ended up being how everybody knows me that walks past me in the airport and comes to my shows. Like turning, I don't know, whatever it is, I feel like there's always a way to view it in a way like it's the old accepting what is, but I like thinking of it as like the obstacle is the way, like the impediment to the way is actually the way through. And it sounds kind of crazy, but I have yet to find a time when that is not true. Of course, with exceptions like people finding out they're dying tomorrow. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. 100%. Yeah, I do. I got into a little bit of trouble on Instagram. I put a word on there that rhymes with propane. It was "I like my women like I like mine." It rhymes with propane. I don't even want to say it here. And I used an Eric Clapton song, which is named after that word, and it got shared like 75,000 times. I mean, this thing was blowing
Wow.
up. And then AI detected it and was like, ding. So I got dinged for 3 months. But you know what it is? Just like that obstacle, I said, you know what? Let me bang out more podcasts. Let me put more time into my YouTube channel. Let me figure, just like water, you're not going to let it block. If you're blocked here, the water, you're going to go flow the other way.
That's right,
And, you know?
Yeah, and dude, not to pile on though, but I don't think jokes about Rogaine are funny. You know, I can't believe you would do that.
I know. He got it. That is so
Dude,
funny.
how great would it be if Weird Al made a song called Rogaine? Rogaine.
Do Rogaine. Yeah. Dude, I actually tried Rogaine for a long time, but I wasn't. You got to be consistent with it. Like you got to do it morning and night. And I wouldn't see it until I wouldn't remember to put it on until I saw a bald guy, and I'm like, ooh, I don't want to look like that.
Same. I'm now using 100% secure treatment called a hat. It's no side effects. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Well, good chatting with you, man. I enjoyed it very much.
I did too, man. Dude, thank you so much. And you brought up a great memory with the Deja Vu Colombia. I forgot about that. I used to fly into either Kansas City or St. Louis and rent that car and go to the middle of the state. And it was just a fun drive.
That's right, man.
Remember,
it was so fun.
Oh, it was so fun. I'd have breakfast at Cracker Barrel, and man, I really felt like I was like, you're in the middle of the country, man, like America. Like I loved it. And I have so many good memories of going there. But Jamie, have a great day and great rest of your day.
All right, man.
Thanks for coming on, and we'll see you soon. And have fun on Gutfeld.
All right, thanks, man. Sounds good. Talk to you later.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. Bye. Look at you. You made it all the way through another episode of Pocket Party Podcast. Isn't Jamie a great guest? Man, we've had some real bangers lately. Bangers. Do us a favor, go leave a comment and a like on the YouTube channel. On any of my videos. If you get bored, just start playing them at work. Tell your friends about this podcast. If you can just tell 2 people, it really does help tremendously. And if you want to hire me on Cameo, you can get a little cameo. We'll do a little video for you. Or if somebody has a birthday coming up or a graduation or just like a pep talk. And we also have the link to buy me a coffee. And there you go. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm Darren Carter, the party starter, and we hope we started your party.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.